Okay, everyone, welcome back to Crazy Stupid Midlife, the podcast where we celebrate the messy, magical, and totally unapologetic middle chapters of life, and where we are rebranding midlife one episode at a time. Today's episode is a much needed check in. Both Dannielle and I have had so much going on that we really wanted to take a moment and check in with each other. Dannielle especially had a crazy week. I had a crazy week, and we've just had crazy lives since launching this podcast. So, to explain our title, our title this time is Welcome to Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my, from Wizard of Oz. It was something that came to me when we were both trying to brainstorm, okay, we need to check in, but let's have a plan to our check in. And it's because each animal in Wizard of Oz represents a different thing. So I want to start first with the lion. The lion really represents bold moves and big energy for us. And of course, as we know from the Wizard of Oz, courage, right? So even just embarking on this podcast has been something courageous for both of us. But
It really
before I
has.
get into that, let's touch base because Dannielle, you have had a week of uncharted bravery, I think, with everything that went on. So why don't you bring us up to speed? Like what's been going on for you, especially the last couple of weeks?
So I decided to add on another job. I already do two. I'm in clinic in neurology and aesthetics and wellness. So I don't know why, but I decided to join a women's health online company, and I think I like chaos because, or it just must be crazy in general. But I was 2 weeks into it, literally had a breakdown. I was like, "We can't do the podcast anymore. We can't do anything." I can't even cook dinner for my daughter, my kids. The house was a mess. My husband comes home from work, and it's just the dishes are piled. They've been there for 3 days. I was out of my mind, and I felt like I was just losing myself, and I thought to myself, "What am I doing this for? Like, why am I overloading myself, and for who?" And it wasn't the money because it was one of the lower paying jobs that I would have. So, it wasn't the money. I think I was really excited about women's health, and because I love helping women in midlife. And so I was excited about that, but I took on too much. I realized it after 2 gruesome weeks for myself and my family, and after talking to Renee, which thank God I was able to talk it out with her, because I mean, it really helped. I just it wasn't serving me, and I remember Brene, I think it's Brene Brown, doesn't she I think she
Yeah.
coined that phrase, "If it doesn't serve you anymore." And
Hmm.
this is part of midlife. I have the courage now to say, "This isn't working and this isn't serving me anymore." And I just was like, "I can't do it. I'm sorry." And I felt such a relief because why do I need to do that? What am I getting out of it? I wasn't getting anything out of it anymore. It wasn't right. And I had used to have such a guilty feeling like, "Oh, I'm going to let everyone down." But you know what? I didn't have any of that. This time I was like, "I'm done. We're going to cut the cord.
Yeah.
I'm moving on." I felt really confident with my decision. I was professional in leaving, and
Hmm.
I did my thing, and it also solidified where I'm at, and my other clinics is amazing. I love who I work with. I love going to work every day. I love everybody around me. I love treating patients. I love what I do. And this podcast has become really important. And I didn't want to let that go. And I was thinking, how am I going to do it all? But
Yeah.
it was really clear to me yesterday. And it was overwhelming, but clarity is amazing. That's how I
Yeah.
feel
Well,
today.
and like you said, being able to, when we were talking last night and I said, it's clear that you feel this in your gut and listening to your gut is so important. And I find that when we're younger, we question it, right? We mull it over, we overthink it. We try and talk ourselves out of it. We rationalize it even, right? In a
Yeah.
situation that's not serving us. Oh, I'm not being strong enough, or oh, this is all in my head, or I'm overthinking it, or whatever we'd
I
say to
can
talk
get through
ourselves out
it.
of it.
Yeah, I can get
Mhm,
through it, you're smart
mhm.
enough, you can do yeah, I didn't have any of that really. I just maybe for a second, but then it was so clear to me. It was almost like the Red Sea parted, and I was just like, I'm done."
Yeah, you were done. You were
Yeah,
done. And once you made that decision and you were ready to send the email and resign, I think you felt a complete weight lifted off of you.
yeah,
And you
and I
probably did sleep
just
well. Did you sleep well last night?
I did sleep well, and usually I'm mulling
Yeah.
things over, but no, I was fine, and we have to do things that are right. And my gut from day, no, actually, it was 2 weeks before I started. Remember, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was overwhelmed. I hadn't even started that job yet.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
you
how
were
am I going to,
overwhelmed.
yeah, how am I going to do this? And it just got worse. And my gut was really pulling at me and it was telling me, this isn't going to be right. You can't do it anymore.
Well, and we brought up that great episode we had with Dr. Noriko where the whole underlying message for her entire interview was balance, right?
Yeah.
And you weren't gonna have work-life balance
Oh
with
no,
that
it
job.
was awful. What is the point of
Mm-mm.
life if there's no balance? I
Yeah.
think sometimes there is a fine line to have balance. You can choose your balance, right? But like I love to work out. I couldn't even get an hour. I literally couldn't unless I woke up too early where I would have been exhausted by the I couldn't even complete my day. And
Mhm.
I I can't live like that. It's just not
No.
right.
Well, and that's just not life, you know?
No. Yeah.
And like I said to you last night, we only get one shot at this life. We don't get to come back and do this again. We don't
Right.
get to come back and be like, "You know what? I really wish I had some work-life balance when I was in my late 40s." You know? You just don't. So, it's it's one of those things where if you're sensing something deep in your gut that's not right and something that feels off, women's intuition is very strong and very powerful. And I think listening to it is something we get better at in midlife. And so there's another plus of midlife
Yeah.
because we realize that we are wise, we are strong, we are smart. If we sense something, we need to listen to it and do something about it. And that's what you did. So you were brave and you had courage. And you were brave to even take that job on, actually. And you had the courage to let it go.
I agree. I think both is true. I don't regret it because I learned a lot about myself
Mhm.
too and what I can and can't handle at this point and what I want to handle. Yeah, I worked really hard to get to this spot in my life where I've went to school and I've done all this crazy degrees and I want to work, but I want to do it and love it every day.
Mhm. Well, you want to do it on your terms too.
Yeah. So what's your bold?
My bold. So, I mean, lately, I'm wrapping up my school year, as you know. So I have like 2 weeks left of school, which is super exciting. My bold is I had the opportunity. I really wanted to teach AP English language. I've taught that before, and I wanted to teach juniors in general, in addition to whatever else they gave me. And typically, they give high school teachers like two different subjects to teach. But I have taught every subject at this point, every grade level for English and language arts, right? So that's a good and a bad thing. The good part is I've taught everything, so that's great. But the bad thing is they will drop you wherever they need you because you have experience in every subject. So the bold thing for me was when they gave me my schedule a couple of weeks ago, they said, "Hey, we can give you juniors, but we still need you to teach freshman honors and we still really want you to teach English language development." So, that would have been 4 subjects versus 2. I basically am doing a very bold thing because most teachers in general in high school, they don't really want to teach more than 2 subjects. It's a lot. You're prepping an agenda and lessons every day for 2 subjects, right? Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is because it's an hour and 40-minute class period. So, you're filling up an hour and 40 minutes multiple times, 5 times per day.
That's a lot. It used to be what, 40, 50 minutes and now what are they?
Well, it depends on the high school. Like where our kids went to high school, their class periods were shorter, but where I teach, it's a lot longer. So it's planning content for multiple subjects multiple times a day. And that's why most English teachers and most teachers in general just want to have 2 subjects that they teach, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, "Hey, we can give you juniors, but we need you to keep a couple sections of 9 honors and we need you to keep ELD. So basically what it means is I agreed to teach 4 subjects versus 2. So it's double what I'm teaching this year. But in my mind, I saw it as an advantage that I got to teach juniors again because I really love that age. And I kind of thought in my head, you know what? I've been teaching a long time now. Yes, it's going to be a little bit harder in the sense that every day I'm going to be preparing 4 lessons, like when I walk in the door. Not to say that I can't technically work from home and do it the night before, but I don't really like to do that anymore because, again, work-life balance. I try not to work from home anymore. But yeah, so that's going to be a challenge. And basically, when I agreed, my department chair was like, "Thank you very much for agreeing to do that," because it's a bold thing to do. But at the same time, I would rather have that schedule than not be able to teach juniors. So the way I look at it is, I'm I'm doing something brave in a way because the payoff for me is that I'm tapping back into juniors. And so I'm more likely to get juniors again the following year if I agree to do this. And so that's kind of what I'm kind of taking one for the team to help out the department, but I'm not like totally opposed to it, but it's going to be a challenging school year teaching 4 subjects every day. So basically every day, instead of teaching just 2 things and repeating, every single thing I teach is going to be something different
Well, that's good.
every day.
That's actually good. I mean, it's then you're not
Yeah.
repeating, you're doing something different
No.
every so often in the day. So
Yeah.
that's great. And also,
Yes.
it's only a school year, 9 months,
Yes.
and
10.
10 months. Lots of breaks
10
in
months.
between there too,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. But it is bold to take on that, but sometimes that stuff I think is good, You're just still challenging yourself. It's not going to get mundane. That's good. That's good stuff, I think. Good bold moves.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And I'm not like it's not like killing me, and I feel that I'll have some time this summer to come up with some plans and not go into the school year completely raw. I want to have some idea of what I'm teaching, and I also love to teach The Great Gatsby. That's probably my favorite thing to teach, and that's considered like junior level reading. So it's always really saved for 11th grade, at least in my district. So being able to teach The Great Gatsby again is super exciting. So,
Well,
anyways,
I I
that's my bold thing.
I just have to say really quick, I've been in your classroom and I was a guest one time. This was amazing. I don't know, a couple years ago. And
Yeah.
your students absolutely love you. You are an exceptional
Oh,
teacher. And I remember one of the students, I think I told you this, she said, we were talking about vision boards in your class, if you remember that.
yep.
And she
Yeah, mine's
said,
my seniors.
yeah, and I don't know how we got on the subject in the class, but it was something like she needs to write a book. And the
Oh,
student was
yeah.
like, "Oh, I would read that book if she wrote it." And I was like, "This is such a good class, and they really know you because you are such a good
Mhm.
writer, and they know that whatever you write is gonna be good. You need to get back on the writing. I that's something bold you need to set for the future."
Yeah, I think about that all the time, all the time. In fact, today I came home anytime I'm having, like, a little bit of a struggle emotionally, the only thing I wanna do is write. And and it's not even my story. I just wanna write. I wanna tell a story. I wanna put my pen on a piece of paper and just go to town with my thoughts. Not about life, again, just about telling a story. Like, I come up with characters, and I mean, it's definitely a coping strategy for me, but I do want to eventually that'll be the most courageous move of my lifetime, is to actually write my book,
Well, you better
for sure.
because you already have fans. We're
I
just
already have
waiting for the
my
material.
12th graders from 2 years ago. That's so funny. Yeah, so anyways, that's my bold move, and in addition to the podcast, I will say adding that on because, like, I've been putting myself out there in really, like, fun, also scary ways, reaching out to random people to see if they'll be guests, and
Is this part of our
taking huge
fears? Is this oh,
leaps.
did we move on to tigers?
Yeah, I guess it's part of our
Okay,
fears.
okay.
Yeah, we can move on to tigers. I have tigers as okay. Tigers really symbolize, especially in Wizard of Oz, unpredictability and navigating the unknown, right? So, internal doubts, imposter syndrome, that's huge,
Yeah,
and vulnerability that comes with doing something new in public. So, obviously, our podcast is all of those things.
yeah. It really is.
But I mean, before we dive into that, let's tackle individual ones first. So now that you have resigned from MIDI and you're resuming your life as it was before, and probably with some changes, are you having any like sneaky fears or doubts moving forward, or even about the podcast or anything else?
Um, I don't know why I always feel like I have to keep going or keep growing or keep moving or getting another degree, or maybe it's imposter syndrome, and maybe I think people go through when you've been in school for so long and you've been just learning and learning and learning. I feel like there is a letdown. It's kind of like after high school, if you're like the captain of the football team and then
Mhm.
you enter real life and you're like, no one cares who I am. And I feel like,
Reality bites.
yeah, it's just a big like, you're just like everybody else, moving along. And I just feel like I don't know why I always want to put my hands in everything and do everything, because I just my fear is staying still. I don't want to stay still and I don't want to be stagnant or not relevant. And I think that is why I am so excited to keep going with the podcast instead of just we have to stop everything. That's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that we're continuing with this because I think it's really important to people and to us. If anything, just us, you know. And if we
Yeah.
get
No, I
followers and
agree.
people that want to be part of this community, even better. But the fear is just
Mhm.
staying stagnant. That's why I
Yeah.
always take something on that I probably shouldn't.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I think I touched on the fact that I was driving to work and I had a little bit of a meltdown on a voice audio to a friend of mine. And granted, I think it was the day before my period or the day of my period. And I've been pretty candid about the fact that that brings on an existential crisis.
Yeah. Yes.
Like every month, I wonder, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And I wonder it like legit. I'm not exaggerating. But on my way to work that day, what I was wondering, my existential crisis was, why do I have to always try so hard to be better?
Mhm.
Because I'm kind of tired of doing that. And I just want to be enough,
Yeah.
like for once in my God-forsaken life. I just want to be enough and I want that to be okay. And for me, it was a little bit about Mother's Day. I don't know, for some reason I felt bad that it was a day that was supposed to be about me. I didn't want to obligate everyone to do what I wanted to do, but at the same time, I didn't really want to do nothing. It was also a really hot day, so I had no energy to do much outside. And anyways, it was just a day of me feeling guilty because it was Mother's Day, right? And then when I was driving to work on, I think it was Monday, I literally had a breakdown. And because in the beginning I was like, oh, I should have been better. I should have been in a better mood that day and I should have not felt so guilty and I should have made the better choice and I should have been more understanding. And that's when I just broke down because I was like, God, I am so tired of, like, why do I always have to be better? Why can't I just be me and that be enough? And I think that's why I got so emotional. And then also the hormones and whatever, I started crying. I was like sobbing, crying, definitely ugly crying. And I got to work and thank God I didn't have any makeup on in the car, but I got to work and I had to like pull myself together and be around 115 high school students for 7 hours that day. And so that was kind of a long day. But at the end of it, I realized that I am tired of trying to be better in certain ways. With the podcast, that's completely different. It's a creative endeavor that I'm excited about and that I'm really having fun learning new things and taking leaps. And I do have a little bit of imposter syndrome when it comes to like editing and just setting up our mics and all of that because I don't know what I'm doing. But at the same time, it's kind of fun to not know what you're doing and to
Yeah.
still do it.
Well, and you do such a good job. I mean, anyone listening here, we don't have anyone helping us. Literally learning every system by ourselves. That's a
Yeah.
recording system, that's a microphone system, that's a video, that's a trying to get it on
Just the cord.
YouTube, trying to get it on just the cords. I mean, Instagram, TikTok, this is midlife people trying to act like they're 25 and but you're doing it. You since I've been out of my mind with all this new job stuff. You have picked up the slack and you have done so much and you've learned it's amazing. You really could quit your job and become a
I
podcast
know, sometimes I
influencer
would
or
joke
whatever it
that.
is. I don't know what they call them,
Yeah.
but
Well, anytime I would figure out something hard, I would think in my head, I can't believe I just figured that out. Like the most recent thing that I figured out that took so many hours was making it so that when someone signed up for an email on our website, it would automatically populate on our newsletter platform because those two things were different. And for some reason, everything I did to do that was not working. And it was funny because one night I was sitting on the couch and I was like, okay, I'm just going to try it one more time. And I tried it and it didn't work. And I was just like, gosh darn it. And so I just like leaned back and I was watching Twilight with my daughter. And then I looked on my computer and there was a way for me to like double check to see if the email addresses were showing up. And all of a sudden, like the three showed up. And I was
oh,
like, oh my God, it worked. And I got so excited and nobody knew what I was talking about. Literally like 7 hours to figure that out. But that's a big deal because if someone goes and signs up to be notified of a new episode, like we want to know that we have new subscribers. And by the way, we did have new subscribers. So that was they were just sitting in, I don't know,
yeah.
internet land,
So that's
but now they're
in their
connected.
place. Now they're in their place.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, taking bold moves, doing things that are new and are hard, it's all hard but great. I think this is what midlife is about, is just to take these chances. And I feel like I'm always wanting to, just like you said, you are enough, Renee. I just want to tell you that. You are enough. And you don't have to try to
Thank
be
you.
something more. I think that's something that might come from some other place, not I don't think anyone around you is thinking you're not enough. I think that it's sometimes we become a little hard on ourselves, and you just have to know that you go over and beyond. You're a wonderful friend, mother, wife, daughter, everything. Exceptional. So there I don't even know if you could get better. So I mean, I should be
That's
taking
very
some
kind.
tips here. So be
I know.
kind
I
to
need to like
yourself. Talk to yourself as you would talk to me.
I know. That's true. It's really, really true. I have to get better at that. They say that all the time, right? Like treat yourself as you would treat your friend. And it's funny because I'm such an understanding friend and I'm such a forgiving friend and I always root for my friends and I'm like I'm safe place. You can vent to me, you can cuss at me, you can like do whatever and I'm always going to be like I'm still here for you. But when it comes to myself, sometimes, yeah, I think that's just common though. It's an unfortunate thing. But to be honest, having that good cry, I did come home that night and I'm not going to go. I mean, of course, I'm going to always try to be a good mom, right? But, and a good friend and all those things. But I think I just need to also settle in that I am fine just the way I am because it gets exhausting, honestly. Always trying to like rally emotionally for other people. I think that's where I got tapped out. Not necessarily in like the work of planning a lesson for 4 subjects or, learning all the podcasting stuff. I can actually do that okay. But trying to always rally emotionally is a different layer of hard.
I know. I know. But again, like you said, it was that time of the month too. So
Yeah.
that adds like a whole nother layer and element that we just
Mhm.
spin out of control. And that's when you have to take time for yourself. Don't feel guilty if it's
Yep.
Mother's Day. I actually, on Mother's Day, I don't ever want to even hang out with my family. They know most of the time I wanna leave. So, what I did is saw them in the morning, they cooked me breakfast, they went to my husband's family, I went and worked out, I went shopping, and I came home and they cooked me dinner. So, most of the day I was by myself, and I know this about me is I just need to do what's right for me, and I don't feel guilty anymore. And you have my permission.
It's funny because I went and got my hair done on that same day, and I was telling my hairdresser that I had a meltdown in the car because she was like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "Oh, it was good, but it started off kinda rough." And she's like, "Oh, that's so sad." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what it was about." I'm like, "I think it was Mother's Day. I don't know. For some reason, it It just brought me down. And she's like, you know what? Sometimes I kind of feel the same way. And we had this like really nice chat. And she kind of was saying the exact same thing that, sometimes she just kind of feels like she would love a day where she just doesn't have to mom and she can just be herself, and doesn't have to worry about, you know, making sure everybody else is comfortable slash happy spending time with her. And I think that's kind of where it came from for me too, because I want to be with my family, but at the same time, I kind of just want a day to chill and be by myself and not have to worry about emotionally rallying for a bunch of other people. It's exhausting.
I'm sorry if you guys can hear my daughter screaming in the background. It's just awesome. Can you hear it?
Oh, I
Great.
couldn't hear it, but
Oh, okay, good. Well, these are great microphones then.
that's
Um,
amazing. Let's move on to bears, shall we?
okay. So bears
Bears
is boundaries and
are
burnout,
like, yep,
but we actually kind
and
of
the need to
covered that.
hibernate.
We did kind of cover that, but I think what we're going to do is so we're not burnout. We are here for each other, and we are also going to hire an intern
So
because
exciting.
it really is. So we know that we need help with this. We can only go so far, and then we need help because it's actually going really well. I mean, better than we thought it was going to be. Going, I
Yeah.
had no expectations, but it's going great. So we need to keep up the momentum. We actually have some sponsors that are interested in partnering.
Yep.
So, there's some great things going on. And just knowing when we got to reach out and have someone else help us, I think is great.
Well, and I think that's for sure my bear is not necessarily setting a boundary, but like, and in a way kind of because, the editing piece and all the other like trying to set up all these systems before summer because, obviously just to share with our listeners, we're both going to be out of town this summer. I'm going to be out of the country for about 5 weeks, 6 weeks actually,
And two
and
for
then
me, yeah.
Danielle and two for Danielle. So it's I'm trying to make sure that we have some systems and processes set up for the podcast so that we can continue, creating content and posting content when we're abroad. But in order to do that and also still enjoy my family and have those boundaries with not letting the podcast impact, family vacation time, we needed to hire an intern. So I think we are, very close to doing that. We had a great interview, and I'm excited to get someone on board to help with editing and social media and content, and just to have someone support this endeavor because at the end of the day, I am like super excited about this creative outlet. It's been really fun to use like my major was communication. So all of this stuff is not all of it because obviously there's so much new stuff that came out since I graduated, but like just the art of communicating, the art of storytelling and the art of interviewing. That's all stuff that like I'm really passionate about and I don't really get to do that as a teacher. I mean kind of, but not really. So
Yeah.
this for me has been very um personally satisfying
Yeah.
on a creative level.
I agree. For me too, I just look forward to having these conversations and hearing the feedback from other women saying,
Mhm.
"Oh, I loved that episode. I felt exactly how you were feeling. Whatever you were explaining that day, I just resonated with that." Or you were so sweet to say that, or, and it's almost like some of our conversation is giving others the permission to,
For sure.
be who they want to be, or go change your lifestyle, or take that leap, be bold, be sad, make a decision. Whatever's going to suit you, do it. And whatever's not suiting you, get rid of it. I mean, just do it. Whether that's a job, a friend, a spouse, whatever isn't working, get rid of it. A food choice, a workout, and change is good. To always change things up
Mhm.
is always good too. And learn things, learn new things. We're not dead. I think you say that in every episode. We're not dead.
Not dead.
We're still here
Well, change is
breathing.
good.
Yeah.
Change is good. And I think a lot of people are afraid of change. I know my husband's afraid of change, but it is a really good thing to embrace it, and it's good for your brain. It's so good for your brain to do things that are different and a little bit spontaneous and a little difficult and to still power through and still do them. So um but I did want to touch on what you said earlier about our community reaching out. I
Yeah.
had a friend leave me a voicemail, and it just had me laughing out loud. And she was referencing one of our episodes, and she was like, "Normally, I would have never told you this story, but because you guys are so open on the podcast, I feel like it's okay for me to tell this story." And it was a period story.
Yeah.
And I was laughing out loud in my car. It was so entertaining. And I just was like, you know what? I'm so happy that other women are feeling comfortable talking about these things, because that's the whole reason why we did this, right? We wanted to create a community for other women.
Yeah. Where you can be emotional, you can be happy, you can be sad, we can celebrate our wins and then cry and be supportive in our losses or things that we're not doing well at, because we're not going to do well all the time. Like the last 2 weeks was a really low point, and um, it was really hard. But I had resources. I had you. I had my husband, my family that was really supportive, but at the end of the day, it was me that had to make that decision. I had to be the one to say, "This is no longer serving me. I'm done." And,
Yeah.
you know, so bold decision.
Well, I'm really glad too that you didn't, you know, stick it out for like 6 months or something. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that would have been
Like I said, I had that
really bad.
intuition in the beginning. I don't know what it was, but it was like I kept going because I was trying to prove to myself that I could. But at
Hmm.
some point I was like, I knew this wasn't right from the beginning, and it's okay. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful company. It was just not for me, and I want to grow in different ways, and so I'm excited for whatever the future has to hold for
Hmm.
me. My mom said today, remember what did she say? Yesterday, she said, "Make today your bitch." And it was just she always says that when she's just like, "Go out and get it." When she's feeling down too, because I talk to her a lot in the morning, and she's just like, "I'm gonna go make today my bitch." And it was so awesome because
I
I did.
love
I
that.
had to. Like, it's just I gotta get things done, clear my plate, and get all the fuzz
That
off.
needs to be on a
Static.
t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Make today your bitch.
Make today your bitch.
So do it, ladies. You go out there and you make today your bitch. Or gentlemen, whoever's listening, just do it. I mean, make a change, make a bold move. But just know you have support. I mean, even if you want to email us and just like, I did this bold move, well, we're gonna celebrate with you.
Oh, definitely. I love it when our listeners share things with us. And a lot of our listeners are friends and will call us. But for those of you who are getting to know us through the podcast, we would love to hear from you on our email, hello at crazystupidmidlife.com. And also, if
Instagram
you guys are
messages too.
enjoying it, yeah, you could DM us on Instagram. And now that we're working on getting an intern, we're going to get on TikTok, and we're already on YouTube. That was a big accomplishment too. That was hard. We're on YouTube now. So, we're trying to get as much visibility as possible to make sure that we have a wide as reach as possible.
Um,
So,
oh, do you think we should do the rapid fire, light and personal?
I was I was thinking we should. Do you want to do actually, how about I go first and
Okay.
then you can do the second one, okay?
All right.
Um what's your lion move this week, aka your boldest moment? Although I think we all know, but I'll still ask you cuz maybe it's something different.
Okay. I'll just do short. It was leaving a job after 2 weeks. I've never done that. What's been your
Yeah.
or do you wait, am I gonna ask you this? What's your lion move this week? Your boldest move?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. Well, I guess I could say I had this opportunity to go to this event that you know about on Saturday. And wow, it was a hard decision because my daughter made CIFs for track as a freshman, which was huge. And so making that decision was rough, but in the end I decided I feel like I just would never feel good about missing that moment for my daughter.
Yeah.
And it's a minute long race, but I have been to all of her track meets, home, away, super far away, and I can't miss that moment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I made the I made the bold move to just go to her track meet for 1 minute. You know what? Life is short, and I don't wanna miss any time
Well,
my
and
daughter is running
I think
hurdles.
it's a great decision, and what I say, let's just skip it this year, but next year we're gonna be guests.
Yeah,
So it's the
yeah.
Dear Media event, and if you're from Dear Media, we wanna be guests next year. We wanna be on stage talking back and forth. about
Yeah.
real life moments in midlife, which, by the way, midlife is like 38 years old. We keep saying it's not that old. So,
No, it's not.
um, okay, what's been your inner tiger lately? Your sneaky stressor that's just kind of percolating.
For me, it's definitely getting all my grades in before the end of the school year, just because it's something I tend to put off. It's not very fun. It's repetitive and it gets old, but I've been stressed about that, and it's been creeping up at work because I only have 2 weeks left. So I do kind of need to lock in, as my daughter says, I'm locking in, mom, when I'm doing her when she's doing her homework. But I need to lock in next week and just get grading done. So that's my sneaky stressor. What about yours?
Mine is Instagram. I just have it in the back of my head that I
Oh
need to
my
be
God.
posting on Instagram for the podcast. So,
Really?
yeah, because I
That
know
the
we need
intern's gonna
to.
help with that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. But that's my sneaky like thing that kind of percolates in the back of my mind. Like, what do I need to get done? It's that stressor. So there's that.
Well, we're gonna get help with them.
Yeah.
We're gonna get help with them.
What bear moment are you craving now?
Oh, AKS Rest Hideout Fantasy. I would love to have some downtime to myself this weekend. I haven't really been doing that lately because I've been spending a lot of time on the weekends, like editing and getting the podcast up. But now that I think we might have some help with editing, I think I really want to start reading. My daughter and I have been watching the Twilight Saga, and my friend of mine said, the books are so much better.
Oh, they are.
So I was kind of thinking, wouldn't that be fun if I got the Twilight book and started reading the first one? Because I've been kind of into I've never seen them before. This is my first time ever watching the Twilight movies,
Oh, the
and
books are
so
so much better. Aren't you don't you agree?
I mean, usually they are, but I've never read them, so
Oh,
I
you
will let
didn't
you
read
know.
them. Okay, I read the books,
Mm-mm.
but it's just like 50 Shades of Grey. Maybe you should read those again. The
I
books are
love
so
reading
much
50 Shades
better
of Grey.
because we can have our own
Yeah.
imagination of who Mr. Grey is. Maybe we
Yeah.
should have a podcast on 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of
Let's
Grey.
you know
Yeah.
what? Let's put it out there. Let's get the author of 50 Shades of Grey to come on the podcast.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? She was, like, self-published. She has a really amazing story.
Yeah.
Do you remember we saw the movie together,
Did
like,
we?
eons ago? Yes, we made, like, a thing of it. We went out, and then we went out
You have the
after,
best
and we were, like
memory.
w we, like, got dressed up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so
It was
good.
a fun night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Um,
ahead.
what about you? Bare moment that you're craving right now.
So I had a really wonderful weekend away last weekend with my husband. We went to the Elton John concert and then we
How was that, by the
stayed.
way?
It was great. He played what's the one Candle, the one
Candle in the Wind?
Candle in the Wind, and
Um,
he had
yeah.
Marilyn Monroe up on the big screen, and it was breathtaking. She was so beautiful and such an icon that I almost was crying because I was thinking, "What a beautiful life just cut short." And
Yeah.
so many people's lives are cut short, and that's really what that song is about. But that was my favorite moment at that. And then, we were downtown, we stayed downtown, and then had just time to ourselves. So I got a little reset for with that, but honestly, I've been craving a little spa day. Like if I could go to the local spa for a whole day, sit by the pool, get catered with lunch, go in and out of the saunas and cold plunges
That
and
sounds amazing.
yeah, so maybe we'll do some kind of spa day retreat with some women around San Diego. If any of you spas are listening, reach out to us because we'll plan a day.
I would love that. And I had mentioned that, like, remember a couple weeks ago, I was like, "I think we're in need of a spa day." I would love a spa day.
There's
I
even
think
Glen
that's, like,
Ivy.
perfect.
Glen Ivy, I've been to, but
There's the other one, Rancho Valencia just
yeah,
got remodeled.
yes, all of them.
That would be
Any of
fun.
them.
Wanna do, like, 2 more?
Yeah. What's something wild you've Googled this month?
Oh my god, that's
I Google
embarrassing. I don't
everything
even
all day
know.
long. I don't even know.
Yeah, I Google everything all day long too. I do think and lately I've been doing a lot of ChatGPT because I have the paid version,
Yeah.
and sometimes oh, okay. I can say something wild. It's not really wild, but it's kind of interesting. So my son is really into game theory, GTO, game theory for poker,
Oh,
and he's gotten super into it, and he's very good at it. And so I was trying to figure out like if that skill that he's developed could translate into any like career paths. And I really wasn't expecting to get anything from that Google search, but wow. ChatGPT came up with so many different avenues that he can, pursue where he's using that skill set. And so I don't know if it's necessarily wild, but I thought it was kind of wild, to be honest, that game theory could translate into, I mean, even something like business law. I mean, some finance things came up, some data analysis things. I don't know that he'd be into that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. So
That
yeah,
is,
that
and
would be it.
ChatGPT is my favorite. So, instead of Google, I did look up, uh, it's third window disease. I had to figure out what that was, which was interesting. It's like an abnormal opening, in the structures of the inner ear, and you hear, uh, like it causes auditory issues. So it was interesting. I mean, it's probably boring to
That's
everybody.
crazy. And
It's boring
it's
to
called
everybody
third.
else, but yeah, third window syndrome. Sorry, that's what it is. Third window syndrome.
Is it kind of like hearing voices, or is that like an actual mental, like,
I think it's ringing in your ears or like
oh,
because there's underwater sensation. Like it's just yeah, it's very strange. So I had to Google
hmm.
that, but that's daily. I'm Googling random stuff like that.
What's your go-to I'm done for the day outfit? I feel like that's
What I
that's a
have
good
on right
one.
now, I've got the sweatshirt and red sweats on.
That's awesome.
That's it. I just throw all my clothes off and this is what I put on every night.
I put on a pair of, Skims, like, fold-over pants. They're really comfortable, but here's the best part. I don't actually fold it down. I pull it all the way up. Okay. I don't know why. For
To
some
put the
reason, I
fupa
find that to
in?
be comfortable.
Do you know what a fupa
Yes,
is?
I think so. Is it something to do with, like, a
Fat upper beep,
midlife belly?
fat upper,
Oh, I
right?
did not know that. I thought it was like a no, it I did not know that.
Okay, I think it's really supposed to be fat upper abdomen. I'm not really sure, but it's the big fat area up. Not that I'm saying you have it. I'm just saying is that's what I would do if I get my stretch pants and I just tuck in the extra
Yeah, I just like
skin.
to pull it all up because I don't want anything, like, hanging out or showing, because then I feel uncomfortable and if I eat too much or whatever. So I pull those pants all the way up. I'm very comfortable. I can eat to my heart's content, and then I usually do, like, a sweatshirt like I'm wearing right now. So I'm in my cozy end of the day outfit, and honestly, I have really been enjoying doing that when I get off of work because or when I get home from the gym and I'm just being cozy because you know what? Being cozy is important, I think.
I agree. I agree. Get all dressed up all day long. We don't need to be like that in our homes. Be comfortable.
No. Yeah, for sure. So I think
Well,
that is a wrap unless we have anything else we wanna touch base on before we oh, I guess we could talk about what we have on tap for next week.
yes. What do we have? Is that the life coach?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. We are interviewing a life coach. She's also a health and fitness coach, and one of my good friends told me about her because she had joined her membership to do 100 days of, like, health challenge, and she sounds like she's right up our alley in terms of, our mission and what we're trying to, like solutions and options for women for health and fitness and just life in general. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say. I also love the fact that she does all three. It's not just life, it's not just health, it's not just fitness. She kind of does all three. So
Yeah.
we're interviewing her next week, and that episode will go live that following Monday. So
Yeah, so if
that's
anyone
what we
has any
have.
questions for the life coach, something specific, email us so we can ask her and answer those questions for you. I mean, when is it that you get a free moment with a life coach? Usually they're so expensive, and so those are
That's true.
nice. It'd be nice to ask questions and get those answers for you. What else do we have after that? Do we have another guest?
After that, yeah, we are looking at getting another woman who switched gears in midlife and started a business of her own. So we have that on the pipeline. And then we also have a OBGYN who specializes in perimenopause, menopause, PCOS, and all those other like women's health issues. So that's another one that is very exciting. That's in June. And then when we're in the month of July, we are going to be recording from Greece, at least one episode together,
Yes,
because we are
yes.
going to be in Greece together. So that's very exciting.
I can't wait. I mean, that's gonna be I can't we still need to do a travel episode too about your Copenhagen trip.
I know. I really do want to talk about. It's funny because when we were talking about cozy, I really wanted to talk about. It's called Huga in Denmark, and that's the whole idea of being cozy and content and just like comfortable. But that's an episode for itself because Copenhagen was such an incredible experience and seeing another culture and just how the kinds of things that they prioritize there versus what we prioritize here. It's so easy to get back into the rat race too when you come home and just fall into the same routines. But I really did intentionally try to maintain some of that. And I did in the beginning, and then the podcast got rolling and,
Yeah.
that kind of took over. But I think if we had an episode on Copenhagen, it would slow me down a little bit in terms of reminding me of what I loved so much about that culture
Well, we'll do that.
and sharing
I
it
think
too
we
with
need to
everyone else.
Yeah, I think we need to do that because, just when we were talking about it, it was something that I was interested in, the coffee shops and the no phone zones and people walking and biking and, the not being on your phones and working 24/7 like the US is, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we should do that. We should do that as one of our check-in episodes because we're gonna need to, have some of those when we're abroad because we won't have guests the whole month of July.
yeah, that's a good idea. Um, okay. Well, then I think that ends it for our Is It Lions, Tigers, and Bears episode of
Yeah.
Courage. What is it? Courage, bold, and
Sneaky fears and setting boundaries and knowing when you need to hibernate and take care of yourself.
yeah,
Just self-care and also being aware of moments where you need to, you know, slow down and make some bold choices that might be hard, but that were definitely the right thing to do.
yeah,
We both did that in different ways these last few weeks, and I
right.
think that's where we aligned with lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
Yes. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you tune in next time. And
Yeah.
until then, have a great week. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and I guess we always kind of end with a stay. For this one, I want to say like stay brave and stay curious because I think that's always important. And of
And bold.
course,
Stay bold.
stay bold. Stay bold, stay brave, stay curious, and of course, we always have to stay a little bit crazy.
Yes. Until next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening everyone.